All right, Josh Johnson here. We've made too much a habit of this lately, haven't we? These storm updates, these storm discussions, if you will. And unfortunately, I think we are right here going to have to do it again with another risk of severe weather on the way overnight tonight. These nighttime severe weather episodes. Not my favorite, not yours either, I know. But we'll get through it as we always do. A lot going on in the world of weather, to put it mildly. We've got um, issues with severe weather across the state later on tonight. We'll begin, though, as we like to do, with a brief just update, kind of show you where we are now and where we're soon going with this whole thing. So we'll put the severe weather update slate up on the screen there and take that one down because the Facebook Live is starting. If you could, I'd love it if you would share this update. We attempt to reach the maximum amount of people that we can with these, and you can help us out with that. So the best way to do that is to share the updates that you see here, and we are able to reach a large number of people if we do it that way. So we'll go with that. All right, so we'll begin with satellite imagery. Check it out. So you're watching, of course, this update on the risk of severe weather across the state tonight. Risk of damaging wind and tornadoes, the primary concern. You've got a very deep trough digging in here to the central plains. Out ahead of it, warm, muggy air streaming in off the Gulf of Mexico. Translation, that's a storm set up for sure. Now, the couple of things that we're watching within this, though, the risk of damaging wind is much higher than it kind of typically is in these sorts of situations. We think this is the kind of storm scenario where we could have damaging wind gusts in excess of 70 miles per hour. So a lot of times when we talk about damaging wind, we're talking about winds 55, 60, 65. These could get on up there 70, 75, 80. Now, that's the kind of wind damage that really starts to kind of multiply and become fairly substantial. So the message there, the takeaway there, is to not ignore severe thunderstorm warnings on a day like today. It's never a good idea to ignore them, but on a day like today, the difference between a strong straight-line wind gust and a low-end tornado, zero. They're the same thing, essentially. So please understand that. New model data coming in. We'll kind of walk you through this as well. Here you can just see it there. So this setup that we're dealing with here, a couple of things we're concerned about. Obviously, we talked about that damaging wind threat, but a risk of strong tornadoes could very well develop down in southwest Alabama. Now, there's still some question marks surrounding that. Let me show you what I mean. So this is the high-res rapid refresh model. Yeah, you're looking live at that now. So this would be, we'll just go out hour by hour here through this whole thing. I'll also make this a little larger so that you can see it quite clearly. Okay, so this is 11 o'clock this morning. Models initialized, so that's in the past, obviously. So we'll skip ahead. So this is 1 in the afternoon. Line of storm still west of the Mississippi River. So we'll keep kind of plugging along here. Now look at us. This is 21Z time. So that would put us out at 4 in the afternoon. Line of strong to severe thunderstorms runs from near Memphis back down to Natchez, Mississippi. It begins to pick up speed. Here we are at 6 p.m. The line is now in central Mississippi. Now, a couple of important things we've got to kind of break out for you here. With that line, look what's happening ahead of the line. See this? These individual cells popping out here. The model doesn't really do much with these, but I think we'll have to watch them. They're in an environment where if things come together in the wrong way, these could be problematic from a tornado perspective. So that is something, that's the first hint of trouble here. Okay, so then fast forward. That is a mean old line right there. Here we are at 8 o'clock. It's along the Mississippi border, and it keeps moving east quickly. Now, here we are. This is now 10 o'clock in the evening, and there is trouble. So a couple of things that jump out at me here. First off, this is a heck of a squall line. Damaging wind is a near certainty within the line up and down here. The second thing that we've got to kind of keep an eye out here, see these little small red areas? That's where the model's hinting at some pretty stout rotation. So the moral of the story here is simple. You've got to have multiple reliable ways of getting weather warnings, because this is the type of scenario where we could have damaging wind gusts, tornadoes, all going on at the same time. So it is vital that we kind of all have multiple reliable ways of getting those weather warnings. Now, speaking of the weather warning situation, if you have NOAA weather radio, some people have been asking about the county codes. If you load up my Facebook page and scroll down, I've posted a digital copy of our Alabama weather magnet. It has the county codes on it. So scroll down the Facebook page, you can see that there. Back to the maps. So here we are at midnight. The line of storms, again, if the model is correct, runs from roughly Anniston to Montgomery to Atmore. Damaging wind up and down this line. Also a possibility of tornadoes embedded within this line. Okay, so here's 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. That's as far out as this goes. You'll notice we think 4 or 5 a.m. this is all gone. So this doesn't last forever. This is not a long-term deal where we have tornadoes and strong wind that last on into Thursday. When the sun comes up Thursday, this is probably done. So that's the situation there. Let's talk storm timing. This map, or this graphic rather, has proven to be exceptionally helpful. Here it is in all of its glory. Now, this map is also available on the Facebook page. So again, if it's hard to read, you can't see it, understand that we've got this thing posted over on my Facebook page. I'll make it full screen so it's easier to make sense of. But here are storm timing information. Now, keep in mind these are approximate. If it speeds up, slows down, we'll have to adjust these. But as of right now, we think this is pretty well a pretty good estimate of the maximum impact times for each county that we serve. Questions, comments, ideas. So someone asked, what's the best kind of NOAA weather radio? We prefer the Midland brand. We have had a lot of experience with that and success with that. Midland weather radio, but the key element is make sure you get one with what's called SAME technology. That's SAME. SAME allows you to program it based on your specific county. That can save you a lot of sleepless nights. So get one with SAME technology in it. Now, as far as the threat map is concerned, ours really hasn't changed a lot. The idea, this is a fairly high-end severe weather situation for all of our area. Do not get wound up about if you're in purple or red. The difference in the threat level there is minimal. Everyone in our area has a fairly substantial risk of seeing severe weather overnight tonight. So you have to be ready, you have to be prepared, you have to have multiple reliable ways of getting weather warnings. Now, I will say, I do think there's an area down here, and we'll swap the products over here. This is the significant tornado parameter. And I actually talked a little bit about this yesterday and talked about it because I didn't like what I was seeing. I think there's a corridor here with an enhanced chance of seeing a strong tornado. Down here, Southern Marengo, Clark, Wilcox, Monroe, Conecuh, Escambia, Covington, Butler, Crenshaw. So down here in southwest Alabama, south central Alabama, I have some pretty substantial concerns about the possibility of a significant tornado threat evolving down here. This could be kind of in that EF2 and up range, the type of tornadoes that hurt people. So I just wanted to make that point again, that you've really got to pay close attention here. Area-wide, but I think especially in some of those southwestern counties, you really got to be close dialed in here. Patricia asked, how bad will Dothan, Alabama get? Patricia, the way this works, we are not able to tell you exactly how bad it will be in every city and county in the state. We don't know the answer to that. If I knew where the tornadoes would hit now, I would go out and be going door to door trying to get people out. I don't know exactly where they'll hit. I suspect we will end up with multiple tornadoes in Alabama out of this event. I suspect there's a decent chance of a strong tornado down there in southwest and south central Alabama. I suspect that we'll have dozens of reports of damaging wind in this line. But as far as exactly what happens in specific cities, towns, communities, that is really almost impossible to nail down. Now, here's the timing map if you prefer maps over the text-based product here. 7 to midnight, Clanton, Selma, Camden, Demopolis, Linden, Marion, Faunsdale, Uniontown, Marion Junction, Orville, Miller's Ferry. 9 p.m. through 3 a.m., Rockford, Alexander City, Dadeville, Eclectic, Lake Martin, Horseshoe Bend, Wetumpka, Prattville, Montgomery, Lounsboro, Leadahatchee, Davenport, Pike Road, Laverne, Highland Home, Greenville, Georgiana, Evergreen, Andalusia, Red Level, River Falls, Monroeville, Atmore, Bruton. That's 9 to 3. Okay, 1 to 7 in the morning is the timing. Down here, we're talking Ozark, Eufaula, Dothan, some of those areas. Down in the southeastern corner of the state. Troy, Brundage, Union Springs, Phoenix City, Clio, Midland City, Abbeville. Those would be in the 1 to 7 a.m. time frame. So again, this is the timing on all this. People asking you about PDS. PDS means particularly dangerous situation. That's an enhanced tornado watch that the Storm Prediction Center often issues in significant weather situations. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know if they'll issue that or not. They've got us in a moderate risk, which a lot of times moderate risk and PDS tornado watches go together, particularly at night. So I suspect, it's probably 60-40 yes that you'll end up in a PDS tornado watch, especially down there in southwest Alabama. And again, Kristen, it just stands for particularly dangerous situation. Josh, I wonder if the schools might delay just in case of damage with the overnight storms. Miss Cersei. Hey, Miss Cersei, how are you? I suspect not. I think they'll probably wait to see what happens. If we end up with damage in some spots, they probably will. But in those specific affected locations. I don't think it will be a big widespread thing, though, that happens at a lot of different places. I think some might get that treatment and others will not. So that's the situation as we see it right now. There is no need to be afraid or scared or anything of the sort. This is a fairly typical spring storm system. That said, you should be concerned about it, and you should stay weather aware with it. You should not be afraid. I don't want you running, screaming, hollering. Just be weather aware. This is the kind of, I think it was John DeBlock, who works for the National Weather Service in Birmingham, probably said it best. John said, this may be the type of setup when you look back and you're talking about the spring severe weather season in Alabama, you talk about March 30th. So I thought that was a good way of summing up the thinking on this. This is the most kind of significant threat of severe weather that we've seen so far this season. Reminders, if you're watching this on Facebook, the full video gets posted on YouTube. You can watch on YouTube Live as well. I will have updates throughout the day on the weather app. If you don't have our weather app, you've got to get that thing. We do video briefings on the app and run you through updates, new data, things like that. Plus, the app will alert you in the event of a tornado warning in your specific city or town. The other kind of unpleasant advice we've got to talk about, if you live in a mobile home, if it is possible for you to make arrangements to spend the night with a family member or a friend, that is probably your best course of action. That's what I would tell my mother to do. That's kind of the prism I try to think about when I'm giving people advice is, what would I tell my mother? And I would tell my mother to not be in a mobile home tonight for a number of reasons. The tornado threat is there, and you've got the risk of damaging straight line wind that could be just the same as a low-end tornado. Stephen says, good afternoon from JSU. Josh, Stephen, my man. I'm supposed to be in Jacksonville today, by the way. I had scheduled 2 days off to go see mom and dad and my grandpa and my aunt Ann and my family, and the weather kind of scrambled those plans, but that's okay. We'll come next week. Kristen says, you don't think Prattville will get big tornadoes? Question mark. I don't know, Kristen. Prattville is in the risk area. There is a risk of tornadoes in Prattville. There is a risk of strong tornadoes in Prattville. If I knew yes or no, I'd say it. We don't. Other issues, other thoughts. Helmets. We talk about this, maybe not enough. Got to have helmets. If you live... my cousin Sonny, yeah. It's always good to see you, Coach. Christy asked, can we turn off the commercials on the app way before the weather gets here? I'll ask. We have the capability to do that. I'll tell you, though, our entire sales team is at a conference right now. So I'll put in a special request with the sales manager who manages that situation. I'll give you a hint. She lives in the same house as me, so maybe we can get something worked out there. So kind of summing things back up here, and I think we've pretty much covered everything. But I do want to do a quick kind of rerun through, if you will. Very windy across Alabama today. Exceptionally breezy all day long. Winds, even away from thunderstorms, 20, 30, 40 miles an hour. Maybe enough to cause scattered power outages in spots this morning and this afternoon, way before the storms ever even think about being here. So that's the first thing we've got to look at. Line of storms comes through late tonight, after 7 o'clock in the west. Here's the timing map. As this line of storms moves through, it will be in an environment where we have to worry about damaging wind gust on perhaps a fairly widespread basis, and perhaps pretty intense. This could be the type of damaging wind gust situation where you get 70, 75, 80 mile per hour winds. The other concern would be tornadoes. The tornado risk is highest in the area outlined in purple, but there is a risk of a tornado across every square inch of Alabama tonight. That doesn't mean every square inch gets it. It means every square inch needs to understand that the threat is there, pay attention, and have those multiple reliable ways of getting weather warnings. Back to the timing, because that's the question we get most. There you go. So that's the timing on this whole thing. And I have, in the Facebook Live, if you go into the comments, I have posted a link to that image in the comments section. So you will be able to get to that. And I'll post it when we're done here too, by the way. So you'll have this information at the palm of your hands. Our hotel's downtown Montgomery, safe to go for shelter? Ask Brian. Brian, excellent question. Now, understand, when we're talking about tornado safety, it's very rare that there are, it's not like a cowboy movie. There's not good guys and bad guys. It's not always absolute. It's sort of relative. Hotels in downtown Montgomery would be a better option than being in a car or a mobile home or being outside, obviously. Probably not as good of an option for people if you live in a site-built brick home and you've got your home was very well built. The hotel might not be a better option for you. So in the mobile home situation, yes, the hotel would offer you more protection. If you already have a site-built structure, that would be the way to go. Diane says, post a link to your Facebook page, please. It's just you go to Josh Johnson, go to Facebook and search Josh Johnson WSFA. You'll find me there. Thoughts on a tornado outbreak? I actually think it's possible. A lot of it will depend on the storm structure here. How much does it stay in a line? How much does it bust up? And the data is kind of mixed on that. Some of the previous high-res rapid refresh runs have been trying to get this a little more broken of a line. Now, the latest runs coming in now, it's a little more linear. Well, that gets a little broken down on that southern end. Whew. Yeah, that's just the kind of setup. These are going to be nasty type storms, really nasty storms. One of my thoughts for West Mobile, need to pay attention later on tonight. Risk of strongest severe thunderstorms later tonight down there in Mobile. West side of Mobile, looks like the timing would be for you 7 to 11, probably a pretty good estimate. Somewhere in there. Car seats in your safe place if you have little ones. Elizabeth, that is a fantastic point. That's a very good idea. Car seats offer added protection. Bring your pets in. It's a great idea. What about people in apartments? Lowest floor. If you own or operate an apartment too, I would really recommend maybe trying to leave your clubhouse area open and staffed tonight, perhaps, where people could get there. If you can't do that, if you have friends, neighbors, lowest floor, you want to get there. You can't get to the lowest floor, just get to the middle of the apartment. Hallway, bathroom, somewhere away from exterior walls. Post the link to your Facebook page, please. I'll do that. I think people are... You're on my Facebook page now, by the way. So if you made it this far, you kind of made it. Diane's having trouble finding it. If you just go to... Here, let me type this out real quick for you. And by the way, I have a kind of a direct link too. If you just go to facebook.com and type in facebook.com/Josh Johnson WSFA, you'll find it. It'll take you straight to my page. So I hope that is useful for you. Pack up a bag with medicines, water, snacks, just in case you're in a place that's damaged. Okay, couple of things there. Yes, that's a great idea. If you are reliant on medicines, pack up a little go bag. It's never a bad idea, and I get it. It feels kind of doom and gloom and over the top, but it's a really great idea. If you don't need it, you don't need it. You didn't lose anything. The other thing I would tell you to do and put in that bag is a pair of closed-toe, preferably hard sole shoes. We get people that have to go to the hospital after almost every tornado because they have to walk around and they step on nails and glass and really unpleasant things. So throw some shoes in that bag or in that safe place with you. We're getting the whatabouts now. What about Plantersville? What about Corinth? We've covered all the counties. I've told you everything I know. Has the risk increased for Tallapoosa County, Coosa County? I wouldn't say it's increased. It's fairly, it's there. There's a risk. I'd put it in the medium range there. It's not over the top, but it is there. Who from the team will be in tonight? Stuart, the answer is yes. I will be there. I'm going in at around 2 this afternoon, and I will be there until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Yay. Nick Gunter will be with me until midnight tonight. Then he will go home. Tyler Seabree will be with us. He's coming back to work at midnight. So some combination of, I'll be there the whole time, and then Nick will be there kind of on the front end of the event, Tyler on the back end of the event. And then you'll probably not see me Thursday night on television because I will have worked probably about 19 hours. And Nick will be kind enough to help out with that. Tornado possibility in the southwest. Yes, that is the most substantial risk of a tornado in our state is in that southwestern area. Out of your service area, but we're in Panama City. Any idea of how bad it could get here? First things first, rip currents, terrible. Rest of the week. If you are going to swim in the Gulf, please, please, please be careful. Do not go in very deep at all. Rip currents going crazy down there. Pretty decent storm risk, Panama City. Damaging wind, the main concern there with isolated tornadoes, also a threat. The timing in Panama City would be a little later. Probably more in the, I'd say, 2 to 8 a.m. time frame. Give or take an hour on either side. I'm in a mobile home in Lee County, super scared. Hey, Margot, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Just if you have a place you could go, great. If you don't have a family member or friend that you can stay with that's close by. Lee County has a great emergency management agency, and they will have tornado shelters open. My advice to you, and frankly for everyone listening, if you live in a mobile home and you're really spooked about this whole thing, and you don't have a family member or friend close by, Google search your county EMA. So if you live in Lee County, you would just go to Google, type in Lee County EMA, give them a call. Our EMA directors in Alabama, we have so many great ones. We really do. You guys are lucky. We are all lucky. They serve our state very well. And just ask them about the tornado shelters. Where's the closest one? Here's my address. Will they be open? And you can make your plans that way. So that's my advice. Make your plans now and involve the emergency management agency in that plan. Will it slow down before it gets to Coffee County? A little bit, Penny. Yeah, it will slow down a little bit. When these storms get to southeast Alabama, will they begin to weaken? What factors could come into play to make this not so severe as planned? Justin, great question. There's a lot that could make this not as bad as the world thinks. And let me just say this, too. You saw my post yesterday about people saying we hype the weather. We don't. Every meteorologist I follow is saying the same thing about this setup, by the way. The Storm Prediction Center, the National Weather Service, we're all on the same page. So, and they don't hype the weather, ever. We don't either, but people accuse us of it because we're a TV station. Frankly, it's a little bit of a shot at my integrity. That's why I got a little defensive about it yesterday, because it really is. That's a statement about my integrity and the personal integrity of our team, that we would prey on the fears of people who are spooked by weather. No. If you've met me ever, or you know me even a little bit, you know that is never going to happen. So I won't get wound up back about that, but everyone's kind of in the same boat here. But Justin asked what factors could come into play to make this not so severe. So a couple of things. First, if the instability gets pinched off and stays down along the immediate Gulf Coast, that would be a great thing. Second, let's say if it stays in a straight line, the tornado risk would go down, damaging wind risk would still be very elevated. If it outran the dynamics and you end up with a line kind of racing out ahead of the best dynamics, that's something that might could help us. I don't think any of those things are going to happen to a large extent, but that's why they call it a forecast and not a promise. All available data suggests that those things will not save the day, but they could. We've had that happen before. What about Amanda? So the way the scheduling falls this to go around, Amanda's kind of working a regular schedule both days. She will kind of be available. If we end up with damage, we'll probably send her out live Thursday to cover that. When we do the schedules, there is a lot that goes into that. It's not just the storms. You have to think about newscasts that follow the storms. You have to think about if we have damage, who are we going to send? What if the damage is way off somewhere? I don't want someone to have to cover storms for 10 hours, then go do damage for 10 hours. So we try to keep someone sort of not in reserve, but in the bullpen, ready to go. And in this instance, because of the way the schedules fell, it's Amanda. Russell, it looks as though the tornado risk is definitely increasing in Covington County. Is that correct? I think it's gone up, yeah, since yesterday. It has gone up. David asked about limiting factors. We just discussed that. Skylar just hopped on, but do you have any information near Stewart County, Georgia? I do not. I don't know where that is even. I'm sorry. Let me quickly... I will do my best to help you out. First thing I got to do is figure out where Stewart County is. Okay, Lumpkin. But there's a Lumpkin County. Right? Okay, so Stewart County, Georgia. Line of storms arrives late tonight, Eastern time, probably 3 to 8 a.m. would be your window. Damaging wind would be the main concern there. I can't rule out a brief tornado or isolated tornado, but the main concern for you would be damaging wind gust. Just got on, I missed about Dallas County. Okay, Dallas County, that one I know. Here's the timing. Dallas County, 8 to 11 p.m. Damaging wind and isolated tornadoes are our main concern. Some of those tornadoes could be EF2 or greater. Are the community shelters that are above ground safe? Catherine asked. In my opinion, yes, they are. I mean, no shelter is 100% effective against everything. You never say never. There's always some weird thing that could happen. But those above, if they are FEMA approved storm shelters, they are built like a tank, and you are in the best possible place you can be. Slap out, Elmore County, 10P to 2A, the timing for you. See? Watch. There you go. 10P to 2A, the timing for the greater metropolitan slap out area. Damaging wind, isolated tornadoes are my concerns for you. What about the code on my Noaa weather radio? Let me know what county you're in, and I can look up the code. I'll post a link to my man Sonny. People will do that. Sonny says, that's why we listen to you. Your integrity has nothing to do. I know you, champ. I appreciate that, Sonny. Sonny was my Little League coach in a couple of different sports, football, baseball. Sonny helped raise a whole generation of kids up in Jacksonville. Okay, Diane is really struggling. Diane says, you have only pics of you and your wife, nothing else. This is the only one I can find of you. It looks as though you started it in 2021 and just left it and maybe started another. This is very frustrating. Are you listed as just Josh Johnson? This is very frustrating. Give link to your page, please, or put all weather-related news on this page instead of your Facebook page, which I cannot locate. Diane, you are on the right page. You're on the right page right now. This is the Josh Johnson WSFA Facebook page. If you X out of this video and scroll down on that page, you will see the previous post. And also, I left a comment, and I'll do it again. Here's the link. I've just posted another comment with the link that goes directly to the page. So you're good. You're doing a lot better than you think. Put it that way. And hey, that's good news, right? If we're doing better than we think, we like that. If at bedtime, should my kids just go to bed, or should I put them to bed in or near our safe place? That's a great question. My personal thought would be I'd let them sleep in their normal beds, but you're going to have to get them up and get them to that safe spot pretty quick. So you know your situation better than I do. Let's see here. Andalusia High School will be open as a shelter. That's from Haley. Everybody's helping out Diane. I appreciate that. I think Diane's heart is in a good spot, so we want to try to help her. Could Montgomery go under a PDS watch? We've discussed that a little bit. I think it's possible, yeah. Lee County, storm timing map, we'll pop that back up 2 to 6 in the morning. Would be kind of the thought process there. Let's see. I'm just now joining. What is the tornado risk looking like for southern Butler County? Nicole, the data I'm seeing, you need to be paying close attention tonight. I am concerned about the possibility of tornadoes down in southwest Alabama, including southern Butler County. This would be later on tonight, I think between about 9 in the evening and say 1 in the morning or so for southern Butler. But I need you to have those reliable, multiple ways of getting weather warnings, know ahead of time where you'll go if a tornado threatens. Because you are right there in that corridor that I'm really concerned about. 9 active tornado warnings in Louisiana. I believe it. Shelby County isn't listed. Are we in the clear? That's from Elizabeth. No, I'm a meteorologist based out of Montgomery, so I cover the southern half or so of the state. Shelby County, main risk for you would be damaging wind gust. Isolated tornadoes, sure. Main concern would be damaging wind, but yeah, you're not in the clear. You need to be weather aware. Timing for you, probably a little sooner than most of the counties that we serve. For Shelby, it's probably more, I don't know, 7 to midnight, somewhere in that range. Billy asking about the Dothan timeline. It is literally on the screen right now. It is in Houston County, 4 to 7 a.m. Do you think everyone is going to see tornadoes, Josh? Braden, that's a very good question. And the good news is the answer to that is always no. Even on horrific tornado outbreaks, most people don't see tornadoes. Tornadoes are small. I know they seem big to us little humans, but when you think about it in terms of a state or a county, tornadoes are tiny and states and counties are really, really big. So, no. Most of us are not going to see tornadoes. Most of us are not going to see damaging wind. Most of us, it's rain, it's very windy, there's thunder and lightning. That's 95% of us. The problem is that other 5% of locations, we could have really big problems with damaging wind and isolated tornadoes. So it's one of these low probability, high impact sort of outcomes. I'm trying my best to keep up with the questions. Code for Corinth. Okay, let's do that. We'll look up the NOAA weather radio codes and tell you what I'll do. I will post the link to the website that has all the codes. So what you're looking for on this link is there's a column here called SAME, S-A-M-E, and it has numbers that start with 00 something. Here, let me show you. I've just posted this link on the page. It is a link on this Facebook Live, and if you look carefully, see this same column right here? All these numbers, those are the county codes for the counties. They go down the side of the screen there. So, there you go. As always, I hope that helps. We've asked a bunch about PDS. I've addressed that already. We'll dive into it again. I don't really know. The Storm Prediction Center makes that call. I think it is possible, yes, particularly southwest Alabama. So Christina, Alexander, that's what I know about that right there. Haley says, you've become my favorite weather person after I watched a random live and you called out your own hairline. Yeah. I mean, I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a hypocrite. I call it like I see it, even my own biscuit head, man. That thing looks like a big old biscuit. Maybe a silly question, but you always say tornadoes are small in relation to county size. How large do tornadoes average? Just out of curiosity. Average tornado, a few hundred yards across. Your big monster ones can be a mile across. So it varies quite a bit. What are our chances of a tornado in the Opp and Covington County area? They're there. That's the only way I really know to answer that question. If I knew ahead of time that there would be a tornado there, I'd be going door to door in neighborhoods getting people out. But I don't quite know. I thought that was the wind, but it was the trash truck. I was about to say, man, it's pretty wild. What Torcon are we in? Haley, the Weather Channel made up the Torcon. That's their thing. No one else in the world of weather really does it. I don't do it. Weather Service doesn't do it. Other TV stations don't do it. That's their deal. And I'm not running it down. I'm just saying we don't really do it. They make it up. It's subjective. It's not a number that's a hard piece of data. They are using their own forecasters to come up with that. Should Alabaster be concerned? Yes. Risk of damaging wind, isolated tornadoes. What about Chambers County? Will we have tornadoes? There is a risk of that. The risk is greater west of you, but you need to be on your toes too. Is Montgomery going to get bad? You'll have a line of thunderstorms that'll push through later tonight in Montgomery County. Damaging wind, isolated tornadoes. What are we to expect in Dale County? Isolated tornadoes, damaging wind. Dale County, 3 to 6 a.m. Has anything changed for Tallapoosa? Leslie, no, it hasn't. Haley said, I heard they're only as wide as a football field. I don't know if that's true. They come in all different sizes, Haley. Some of them are 100 yards across. I've tracked tornadoes that are 1.5 miles wide. So it varies from place to place. Will it be severe in Geneva and Houston counties? It very well could be. Here's the risk map. You will note it includes every square inch of our area. So there's a risk of severe weather for everyone in our area. That risk is maximized in southwest Alabama. Should we worry about Notasulga? Yeah, there's a severe weather risk there tonight. Somewhere in the 10P to 2A range. Alicia says, you were much more patient than I could ever be. Well, thank you. I'm working on that. I'm a work in progress. What are the codes for? I just got in. Those are for NOAA weather radios, Cindy. This may be a silly question. Are trailers that have been built into a house safe? We only have one small closet that's not around outside walls or windows. That's a great question, and it actually gives me an opportunity. I am not picking on trailers. And a lot of mobile homes and trailers that have been built, especially in the last 20 years, are actually very well-built structures. The issue isn't the structure itself most of the time. The failure point usually is how the structure is anchored to the ground. The tie-downs have corroded. The tie-downs are insufficient to keep it anchored to the ground. There can be a lot of different scenarios there, but that's the main failure point is the darn thing fails and blows away. And that's where we have problems, is when that happens. When they lose contact with the ground, that's going to end very badly. So that's an excellent question. So Whitley, the answer to it would be it depends on how it's anchored to the ground. I would suspect it's still relatively unsafe due to how it's anchored to the ground. Your standard tie-down isn't really able to super do a great job. Chelsea says, no, it doesn't look like that, talking about my biscuit head. And Jason says, yes, it does. Sad trombone. My man Tyler's on here. I was walking across the street and got blown over. Disrespectful. It is. I'm trying my best to keep up with these questions. Y'all ask them as fast as I can type them. Cora says, love you, Josh. You were the best. You have me scared, but you were doing your job, and I thank you. Hey, my job is not to scare you. My job is to make you feel not scared. I want you to feel prepared. So if you have multiple reliable ways of getting weather warnings, Cora, and you know where you're going to go ahead of time, you are going to be just fine. We have a great weather team here. We've got a whole lot of education and experience. You have one of the best National Weather Service offices in the country right up the road, issuing warnings, helping us out, doing a phenomenal job with what they do. So please do not be scared. We've got your back, I promise. If you stay weather aware, follow our advice on where to be, you're going to be okay. That goes for everyone. You're going to be all right. We'll get through this. Well, the whatabouts are well underway here, so I'll pop this back up. This will answer those questions. The risk is for everyone. It is highest in southwest Alabama. And these are the approximate times. My young children are on Gulf Shores, just over the bridge, scale of 1 to 10. How severe should I prompt them? Just tell them to pay attention tonight. I mean, if they're in one of the big concrete condominiums, they're probably going to be just fine. What about Autauga County? It's right there, 8 to 11 p.m. Risk of isolated tornadoes, damaging wind gust. How high can the winds get in Lee County? 30 to 40 miles per hour ahead of the storms. Then as the storms themselves come through, gust in a few spots could get as high as 70 to 75 miles per hour. That will be the exception, not the rule, but it could happen. What about Pike County? 11P to 2A. Isolated tornadoes, damaging wind. Amanda, great question. If I have to go outside to access our basement, is that still considered our safest place? Amanda, yes. I would suggest to you that it still is. You get a basement underneath the ground, and you are exceptionally safe. Josh, what will the line be like in Lee County? Will the dew point be lower to help reduce the strength? I still think the line will be pretty well honking in Lee County. It'll still be pretty stout. Caleb answered 200 miles an hour. That is incorrect. So we're going to hit hide on that. We don't like bad information. How bad is it going to be in the Prattville area? My mother is worrying too much. Haley, I don't know. If I knew exactly where the tornadoes would hit hours ahead of time, I would go door to door and get everyone out. But we don't know that. What we can tell you is there is we think a medium to high risk of severe weather in the Prattville area tonight between about 8 o'clock and midnight. That's the best information on planet Earth that we have available. Now, once storms form, we'll be able to see them on radar and give you more heads up. We will get more information as we get closer to this, up to a point where once it's on radar, we can start just, hey, you got to take this seriously, and call out specific, pig trails, coffee places, barbecue joints, and Baptist churches. But right now, we don't have the ability to do that until the storm's actually formed. Hail risk, Tammy, near zero. Hail shouldn't be there could be some small hail with it, but you're not going to see quarters or anything like that. I live in the Booth area. If there should happen to be a tornado coming out of Selma, should I be worried? You should be paying attention, sure, yeah. Anything coming out of Selma is going to be moving probably northeast or east-northeast. So you would need to pay attention. How big was the one that hit Beauregard that hit 3 years ago, right up the road from me? Terrifying. Do you think one that large is possible? Possible, sure. Likely, no. Those are rare tornadoes. That was an EF4 tornado. Those are rare. Now, I can't rule it out tonight. I think it's unlikely, but it's certainly not impossible. And I would tell you, too, it doesn't take an EF4 tornado to cause problems. We had substitute school teacher get killed in Marengo County February before this one by an EF1. So take them all seriously. They're all bad. Jessica Gandy, you have made the point of the day, maybe. Tie down your trampolines. Yes, yes, yes. Secure those trampolines. Those things will go flying. They are the unofficial state bird of Alabama on severe weather days. So please, tie them down, put sandbags on them. If you can't do that, even just flipping them upside down will help you a lot. Flip it upside down and put something heavy in the middle. It's going to help a lot. Is Prattville in the purple? I know we shouldn't worry about colors, but are we? You're right on the edge, honestly. But I would say yes, you are. I was looking for Covington County. I've seen mixed information. Not from us, you haven't. Covington County is in the risk level, in the larger risk level. Wind damage, tornadoes, possible tonight in Covington County. Here's the timing for you. 11 p.m. to 3 in the morning. So there you have it for Covington. Can you show the model at 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. again before you jump off? Yeah, absolutely. So let's do this. I will zoom it in even more because this will have some town names that are a little more familiar. Plus, it's not in Zulu time. It's in standard time, so that's easier for a lot of folks. So watch with me here. We will come down a little bit to kind of queue up. There's Birmingham, there's Tuscaloosa, there's Montgomery, there's Monroeville. So that's at noon. Okay, so the line, at 7 o'clock, the line runs from roughly Tupelo to Newton, Mississippi. Out ahead of the line, there are these individual cells. The model doesn't do much with those, but I think we'll have to still keep an eye on them. Okay, then there's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. For Tuscaloosa, it has the line on top of Tuscaloosa around 10. I suspect it would probably get there a little faster. That's usually, the model's usually a tick slow with this sort of situation. So, hope that answers the question. I do think for Tuscaloosa, by the time you get to midnight, this is all gone. I'll go back to the timing map because I think that's the one that folks enjoy the most. My man Flip Spiceland commenting. Oh, man, that's awesome. Hey, Flip. Flip says, you folks listen to Josh. I would often call him for advice for my forecast. Flip and I used to work together in Atlanta, and Flip is awesome. One of the coolest dudes I've ever met. He was the main weather guy on CNN for like a million years. And then I had the chance to work with him when I was younger and dumber than I am now. And Flip is an outstanding broadcaster. He's got pipes, got the big, deep voice. And I knew we were going to be friends when I walked in, and we started talking about barbecue, I think about 15 minutes into my first day. And I was like, okay, Flip and I are going to work out. This is going to be fun. Flip knows barbecue, too. So, knows weather, knows broadcasting, knows barbecue. What's not to like? We were born to be friends. Flip, I hope you and Ellen are well. Okay, back to this kind of serious stuff. Sandra asked, will the blankets protect my head? I don't have a helmet. I don't even know where to get one. Sandra, blankets would help. You know, as far as the helmets go, if you were to go to Walmart, they probably would have a bike helmet or a baseball helmet, something like that. Even that would help. It doesn't have to be a specific type of helmet per se. If you can't make that happen, blankets would help, or if you have a big stock pot. I know that sounds crazy, but there was a woman in Louisiana who saved her own life by doing that. She was in a tornado, took a really hard shot to the head, but she had a stock pot over her head. Leave it to Louisiana, right? Probably crawfish related. So most of these are questions I've already answered, so we'll kind of just plow through these. Interior bathroom is a safe place, Christina asked. Yes, it is. Do you guys have a station in Dothan, Alabama? We do. WTVY is actually our company owns both stations. When Elmore County be in tornado watch? That should happen later today, probably late afternoon. The technology y'all have is amazing. Do you think there's a possibility you could ever get more specific in the future? Yes, I do, actually. I do think that's a possibility. I think, in fact, in my career in weather, I've been doing this 20 years now. It's gotten a lot better. Like the map I've got up right now with all these times and stuff on it, we would have never been able to really do that with any kind of accuracy even 25 years ago. Or the time frames we would have given you would have been 8, 12 hours wide. Now, if you look at the screen here, most of these are 3 to 5 hours. And quite frankly, a lot of that has to do with the size of the county. So, is this a 12-pack or 24-pack Sunkist Zero event? I'm thinking 12, Chris. We'll start with 12 and see where we go. Sean asked about Rogue Supercells. We'll have to watch for those. I don't know yet if those will get going or not. Why are they not weakening since they're coming in so late? Russell, because the air is very muggy. The air aloft is very cold. And there's a lot of jet stream dynamics, a lot of wind involved in the jet stream to help keep these storms fueled. So coming in late with the sun not out, does it help us a little? But it's not. I don't think it's enough to make this a non-event. This will still be an event. Is the purple in the radar wind? No, that's very heavy rain, Kennedy. Thunderstorms. Naders and hairlines. Hair today, gone tomorrow. That's pretty good, Rick. Just got our weather radar radio today. That's good. Juanita asked an important question. Everyone always says the bathroom is a good spot, but what if the bathroom is basically on the outer wall of the building? Then think about a hallway. I think that would be maybe a better choice for you. If you could get it in a hallway, that's something that I think would probably offer you a little more peace of mind. So, do you have a list of shelters for different areas that will be open? Angela, great question. No, I don't. My advice to you, call your county emergency manager. If you just go to Google and type in the name of the county you live in, say it's Autauga County EMA, hit enter, you'll get the phone number, call, in your case, if it's Autauga County, I don't know where you live, but if it's Autauga, it's Ernie Baggett. We have lots of great emergency managers around Alabama. They all know the drill here with all this. They'll know. They'll know when they're going to open shelters, and you can even tell them your address, so they'll help you find the closest one to you. So that's my advice there. So I don't have a list. The county EMAs handle all of that. Our safe place is our closet because it has no exterior walls. However, it does have our hot water heater in the wall. Is this still our safest place? Ashley, I would say probably so. Obviously, that's not optimal, but I think it still beats some of the alternatives. Amanda coming through in the clutch. Amanda Curran just posted a comment with a list of closings. I have pinned her comment to the top, so you should see it quickly. I heard babies needed to be in a car seat during tornado warnings. Is this true? Yes, that actually is true. That's actually great advice. If you have a very small child, an infant, a toddler, if you can safely secure them into a car seat, that will offer them added protection. A helmet or head covering of some kind, also good, obviously. So that's actually a great point, and something, frankly, we as broadcasters should talk about more. So I love these Facebook Lives, and I get it. We get the what about questions, and I have to say the same thing 177,000 times, but I end up learning something. It's actually great research because I get to hear from you, and I get to hear what you are understanding about the forecast and what you're not understanding about the forecast and your concerns and the information you need. So I can then take that and do a better job with it. So thank you. I see the severe weather threat for Lee County is predicted to end by 6 a.m. So if I'm in Lee County and we leave for school and work at 6:50 a.m., will we still be dealing with non-severe storms? That's from Andrea. Hey, Andrea. I think this is long gone from Lee County by 6:50. Let me show you the latest model. This is the HER, high-res rapid refresh. It's not the gospel. Think of this. This is an idea. When I say model, I think that terminology gets confusing. When I say model, just think idea. That's all this is. This is an idea. It's probably a good idea, but like most ideas, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be good. So this is 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. So leftover showers maybe, but by this point in time, the severe weather is way over here, almost to Macon, Georgia. So it gets gone pretty quick, is the way that that kind of plays out for us. So good question. The large hill risk is still low, Bruce. Good question. Good luck with the car payments. Those are always fun, right? If you live in a mobile home and have nowhere else to go or aren't able to get anywhere, what should you do? Christy, that's a tough scenario, tough question. But your best bet would be a community storm shelter. Most cities, counties in the state of Alabama have access to at least a safer place. It may not be a storm shelter, but it's going to be better than a mobile home would be. Again, not because the mobile home is bad, but because the way it's anchored to the ground makes them susceptible to being thrown. And that's where most of our tornado fatalities that happen in mobile homes, it's that. It's not that the mobile home got vaporized instantly. It's that it got lofted into the air and then smashed on the ground. No home is built to withstand that. If you took a $500,000 brick, beautiful house, well, who are we kidding? Nowadays, that's going to be $750, but I digress. And you pick it up in the air and throw it and hit the ground with it, that brick house is going to be blown to smithereens too. So it's not the quality of the home necessarily, it's usually how it is anchored to the ground. So that's a drum we were beating quite a bit. White Plains versus Jacksonville game tonight at 4:30. 2-game set. Is it going to happen? Yes, I think it will, Zach. I think it probably will. Can you show the model run for Dothan? Sure, it's right down there. So here comes the line. This would be 3 in the morning, the general arrival time around Dothan. Now remember, the model typically is a little too slow. So that's why when I show you this and I show you Houston County, we've accounted for that and bumped it up a little bit, 4 to 7. But that was yesterday, and frankly, the model looks like it's sped up a little bit to be a little closer to our forecast. We may have to speed it up even more. But that's it, Krista. Christy asked, but for those not able to go anywhere, now that's a more difficult situation, and I'm sorry that is the case. It sounds like there's probably some health issues, mobility issues for some people involved there, and so if you're not able to go anywhere, I think the idea would be if you could get someone. I mean, if you have a family member or friend who's in that situation, if you can go pick them up, bring them to your house, that's what I would do. If it was my mother stuck in a mobile home and she couldn't get out, couldn't go anywhere, I would drop what I was doing and get there and load her up if I had to. Now, I understand that may not be an option. If it's physically impossible to get them out of there, go to the middle of the mobile home, cover your head, cover your body as best you can. That is not a safe situation, though. I'm not endorsing it. I'm trying to sort of halfway helpfully explain the best of some really bad options. You going to stay up with us tonight in Conecuh County? Yeah, absolutely. Now, Conecuh County belongs to Mobile, but we occasionally cover it because we do. What's tornado risk for Montgomery? I'd put it in the medium range. So, Caitlin has great feedback here. If you can't get to a storm shelter, call your local EMA and they may help arrange a ride or a church. Yeah, those are both great ideas. No one wants you sitting in a mobile home that you can't get out of on a bad weather day. That would be terrifying. So again, if it's at all possible, involve family, involve friends, involve churches, involve the county EMA, and get them out of that church, or I get them out of that mobile home. Lynn says, where are they? PM me. So Lynn Popwell just commented on this, Christy. She may be able to help out. So that would be amazing. Lynn, thank you for any help that you can provide there. That would be most beneficial. All right, so we are soon going to wind this puppy down here. Take the logos off so you can see everything there. So that's the situation as of 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, we will do additional Facebook updates later this afternoon. I'll do one with Nick and Amanda, Tyler if he's in, so we'll keep you posted here. The weather app is the best way to get information. It will alert you for severe weather. Facebook will not. Facebook is great for stuff like this. Facebook is lousy for saving you from a tornado. So have the weather app. If you don't have a Noaa weather radio, you have plenty of time. It's 1 o'clock. These storms don't get here for 6 more hours at least. So go get that weather radio. So those would be the best kind of things that you could go ahead and do right now to keep yourself ahead of this. Is Coosa County in your area or in another one? It used to be. It moved to Birmingham. The areas are determined by what you watch, though. So if more people in Coosa County watch Montgomery TV, it will flip back to Montgomery. So that's the way that works. All right, everybody, I appreciate your participation. As always, thank you very much for your active participation. It is always appreciated. So I hope everyone all has a wonderful afternoon. If you are scared and spooked by this stuff, please don't be. We will get you through this. Just follow the advice that we've set out for years now, and you're going to be just fine. So I'll be on TV tonight. Amanda's up at 4, and then you'll have me at 5, 6, and 10 later on this evening. And I'll be at the TV station from about 2 this afternoon until about 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So we'll do more Facebook Lives. We'll do more updates on the app. We'll do live on WSFA TV if we see anything life-threatening. So as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate that. I appreciate your trust during severe weather. There's never been more weather sources than there are today, and you choose us, and we note and sincerely appreciate that. Thank you very much.